is what was the reaction of Yaqub alayhi salam. Before I go to the reaction of Yaqub alayhi salam, you should understand that the beautiful words in the Qur'an, Sabrun Jameel, beautiful patience, or finding beauty in patience, is an expression that is attributed directly to Yaqub alayhi salam. So he in the Qur'an is actually a model for what does it mean to show patience, and what does it mean to show patience beautifully. He's a model for that. Being a model for that in the Qur'an, I want you to pay attention and myself to remind myself, what is his reaction when his sons tell him, Binyamin is also gone. He's not coming back either. He says, Allah says, وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ. He turns his back away from them, meaning he turns away from his sons. وَقَالَ يَا أَسَفَا عَلَى Yusuf. He calls out, my poor Yusuf. What a horrible tragedy has fallen upon Yusuf. Wait, it wasn't Yusuf that was taken away. It was Binyamin that was taken away. Yusuf was taken away many, many years ago. But you know, they say in Arabic, al-asa yab'ath al-asa. One tragedy sparks the memory of a previous tragedy. He's reliving the crisis of Yusuf in his heart. And this is many, many, many years later, which tells you he's not over it. Before we go any further, we have to understand what we do to each other. Somebody has a crisis in their home. Somebody has a tragedy, maybe a loss of a child, a loss of a parent, or the diagnosis of a disease. Some tragedy took place. And when we go to a janazah and we tell these people, you shouldn't be crying, you should be patient, have sabr, have sabr, have sabr. We assume that not crying is the same as sabr, or not complaining is the same as sabr. Yusuf alayhi salam's loss has been many, many years, and he hasn't forgotten. It still lives inside of him. It's not just get over it. It's okay, just be grateful to Allah and get over it. No, it doesn't work that way. Not even for a prophet. Not even for a model of Sabr Jameel. This is Allah Azza wa Jall's sensitivity to the hearts of those who have been hurt. Those who suffer pain. Those who have loss of loved ones. And so he says, first of all, Ya asafa ala Yusuf, meaning he cries out over his loss of Yusuf. He's remembering that all over again. And then Allah says, that's not enough. Not only did he speak out his complaint and cry out his complaint, Allah says, وَبْيَضَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ. His eyes turned white. What that means, according to some, is he cried so much you couldn't see the pupils of his eyes. Others say he cried so much that he became blind, which seems to be the case given the context, because later on, فَارْتَدَّ بَصِيرًا. He became someone who could see again. So he cried so much, as a result right now, that he lost his eyesight. وَبْيَضَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ. And so now two things have happened. One, he's cried out, meaning he's screamed. He's even, verbalized his pain. He didn't keep it inside of him. And second of all, he's crying his eyes out to the point where he's blind. It's not just some normal event. But I want you to remember again, he's not crying over Binyamin first. In his mind, it's Yusuf all over again. Ya asafa ala Yusuf. And then after all of this, Allah actually gives us the reason why he had such a breakdown. Why did he fall apart like this? All this time he was okay with what happened with Yusuf, and all of a sudden, what's wrong with you? Allah says, فَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. This is why we pay attention to every letter and every word in the Qur'an. The ayah is not وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. That would have been jumla haliyah. But this is فَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. This is what's called al-fa as-sababiyah. What that means is, and all of that happened because of what? Because of the fact that he was swallowing this pain all along. He had been keeping that pain inside of him all this time. And now this one little thing happened, this one more event happened, the loss of his youngest son again, and he couldn't take it in anymore. What we're learning now is there are people of great patience. Just because you can see them smiling, or just because you don't see them crying, doesn't mean they're not carrying a lot of pain inside of them. They may have been carrying it for a very, very, very long time. And finally, eventually they erupt. Finally, they can't take it anymore. She can't take it anymore, and she erupts. And you say, what happened to her all of a sudden? Why'd you go crazy like that? You were perfectly fine last time, last week, last month. Couple of years you didn't say anything, and all of a sudden you're going psycho? What happened to you? This is actually what we do because we don't realize somebody may be carrying pain inside of them, even if they're not letting it outside. This is Allah telling us that this has been an ongoing thing with him. فَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. It's not even كَاظِم, it's كَظِيم. It's ism sifa to illustrate this is a long-standing problem inside the heart of Yaqub alayhi salam. But then we learn the flip side of this equation. On the one hand, you have this man who's dealt with so much deep and profound sadness. And on the other hand, what he has is an unsupportive family. His sons are not very sensitive to him, not very respectful to him, and not very caring.